Currently cycling along a line of along a stream that was to my right, and it's the outflow from a large reservoir known as Cote Water, which was built in the I suppose the early 18th century to feed the canal network of the time. So there's a series of lagoons along this route. You can see some of the infrastructure here. Not especially nice to look at. The water levels are very low at the moment. But I'm making my way out of town, as I usually do. But we'll look at the lagoons and we'll look at the reservoir as we journey on. Well, I've crossed to the other side of the brook now, making my way towards the reservoir that's Cote Water. This is very much the territory of the late great author Richard Jefferies, who was born and grew up in this area. Very much his stomping ground, and some of the area remains as he would recognise it, but an awful lot of it has changed. But the course of the brook on my left, that's unchanged. He would recognise that. Well, the tree behind me doesn't look in very good condition now. Hopefully it'll stand a few more years. That's the council oak, and that featured in one of Richard Jefferies' novels called Beavis, the Story of a Boy. It's the only one of his novels that I've yet to read. I've read everything else apart from that one. And Jefferies recounts his time here at Cote. He was born literally half a mile from this spot, and he used to come here as a boy, and he learnt to swim here as well. And in his book they held council, him and his friends. They escaped and lived wild for a week in the Cote Water Country Park area. Anyway, this is the reservoir of Cote itself. It's full of green algae now. It's been a very dry summer. The reservoir is fed by natural chalk springs from the the hills just to the south of here. But this marks the last spot of my journey through town. From here we're heading out into the countryside. We're heading out of town on a marvellous loop to take us far away from the madding crowd. Just met Pete. I met Pete a few weeks ago when I was out with Dave riding in the Cotswolds. Pete, you were saying that this area here you helped clear this in 1976.
In 1976 there was just a field here with a stream coming through to feed cut water.
Yeah.
And that hot summer of 76, with all the dust and that, we cleared out most of this out here under topsoil is just sand.
Right, okay.
And we had to leave an island, obviously, probably for foxes. And
so the island, this wasn't here at all then, before then?
No, it's just a field.
Really?
Yeah, when we come along, I took the topsoil off. Yeah. And then we dug down about, I might guess, about 6 foot.
Crikey. That was with big machines then, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had drots and cranes in here.
Very interesting. Well, it's quite beautiful now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, nice little place for the birds. Yeah. Nesting, nice and relaxing for them. Yeah. We've got a couple of islands to nest on as well.
Yeah. Let's spin the camera and have a look. A little bit of trivia about Richard Jefferies. He was, as I keep saying, he was born at Cote. I'm not sure exactly his birth date. Was it 1830? 1836, something like that. And he stayed and grew up in the area and lived until 9 years before he died. So I think he died at quite a young age, 37 I think. And I think he stayed in this area until he was 29. And then he left, and then he never returned, and he didn't want to return. The reason being that if he returned, he thought that his memories would be changed and he wouldn't see the place as he saw it, like through his childhood eyes. I think he said, I read it once in one of his autobiographies, or in his autobiography, the story of my heart, he says, I can't recall exactly word for word what he said, but he said, I'd fear if I come back, the trees, the big oaks, wouldn't be as big and grand as I imagined them, and the streams would all be dried up. So yeah, he wanted to keep those memories pristine, I suppose. Anyway, we got across over the Curly-Wurly Bridge, over the M4, and then we got a few big steep climbs to do. Oh yeah. Look at these cows. They're munching on a feast of nettles. They're not at all bothered by the stings. This section of the ride is very nice. This is the little cycle track which takes you into Chiseldon. The only thing is though, just round the corner there's a massive big hill. Get into low gear. It's short and sharp. short and sharp hill, this. Made even more difficult. We're doing it one-handed. I think this is very nearly a 1 in 4. And we're almost at the top. There we are. That's the top. I'm in Chiseldon now. We've got a few lovely thatched cottages in Chiseldon. Yeah, really quite beautiful. But right in front of me is what used to be the Elms. It was a pub. I remember it being a pub, but it's been closed for many years now, and it's just a private residence. Yeah, the Elms pub. Not only is it no longer a pub, but the Great Elms have now finished. This area here, this used to be a rifle range, I believe, for 2.2 small bore rifles. Here comes another beautiful row of thatched cottages in Chiseldon. I love those thatched cottages, very English. I'm heading south now on what would have been the old railway line from Swindon to Marlborough, one of the beaching cuts. So it ceased running in the early 1960s, but it is a beautiful cycle path. I come along here fairly often, and it's not often you meet people along it either. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, small. I don't think they're crab apples though. They are. That one's rather tart. Anyway, yeah, a lot of the apple trees along this line, they were grown from seeds from the apple cores that the passengers on the trains used to throw out and discard. So all quite natural with the help of man. I think people often overlook the fact that we are natural as well. We're all part of nature, and so what we do, you could argue, is natural. I don't like a lot of what the human race does, mind, but there is a point to make that it could all be natural, even the cities. But yeah, as far away from them as I can get, the better. I'm just coming off of the old railway line now. I got to a very short section of road along the busy Swindon to Marlborough road to traverse, only 100 yards or so, then we're back onto a byway. Back onto a byway. Poor dead hare back on the road there. I hate it when I see roadkill like that. So much of it happens on the roads. Anyway, this is a hell of a climb up onto the high downs. Uphill all the way. Just look at that for a climbing ratio. This bike, it'll get up all the hills, it'll get up all of them. Not fast, but it'll get up them. Look at this for an amazing view. You can see the folds of the land in the foreground. Beach copses. Very much an arable landscape, and in the distance, just over there, Liddington Iron Age Hill Fort. One of my favourite places. This is along here. A land that's been fought over, a land that's been ploughed and farmed for generations. Epochs of time, probably 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 years since the last ice age, by Britons. No doubt some of their blood flows in my veins today. I don't think land belongs to anybody really, but if it could belong to a group of people, it's got to be the Britons. Here the road widens here, and there's a kind of a pull-in, and so wherever a motor vehicle can get and park up, you'll find the litter is dropped. What is it with the mindset of these people? What is it? It really is beyond my comprehension as to why they do this. Why do they do this? These people that do this, they're not Britons. Here's the radio tower. This marks the summit of the climb. That's the way I came, and you can see the radio tower in the background. I'm at a crossroads now. This is the Ridgeway crossroads. Ridgeway that way, we got a finger post here. The Ridgeway back that way, but our route is lying this way, so we're heading in a kind of an easterly direction. We're heading down to the abandoned village of Snap, and now we're in the hamlet of Woods End, and it's marked by a few farmers' cottages, I think, basically. And then we follow the track about half a mile down to Snap. Oh, it's quite a deep, dark holloway here. around the corner, it would have been Snap High Street. Yeah. This is dodgy. Hard up behind that stone there once stood a beautiful thatched cottage. The stone was put there to protect the corner of the cottage from the wagon, from the cart. As the cart came around the bend here, it would often strike the corner of the cottage, so they put the stone there so that it would hit the stone and not the cottage. So this is all that remains now of some of the cottages. This was a small, you can just see the outline of the dwelling. It would have been a small cottage, thatched, made of flint and cob, I expect. Yeah, it's got a spooky feel. It's got a spooky feel. It's got a sadness. Snap has got a sadness to it. It definitely is. I can pick it up, I can tune into it. It's almost like there's an energy that's been left here. I think it must have been a very sad time when Snap was abandoned. I don't think the inhabitants, which some of them are families which went back to the Doomsday Book, some of them, they moved to various villages, and some moved to the big town Swindon, and I know one or two of the descendants actually watched the channel. So I think it must have been an idyllic, beautiful village for there to be that weight of sadness that I can feel. You know, people didn't want to go from here. There were several cottages, 7 or 8 cottages all in a line. They went back up that way. There were 2 wells. There's a well down there which has been capped off. There was a farm over there, and across the way, through the trees, over the valley and up on the land as it rises at the other side, there was an even older village which was abandoned in the medieval period. They abandoned that village and then they moved to this one. So a lot of history here. Unfortunately, the land, it was agricultural land to start off with, and then it became used for sheep, for livestock. I think this is what happened, and they didn't need the numbers of people to run the farms, and so they were dispossessed basically and just kicked out of the land, kicked out of their homes. It was an act of vandalism. Then the army came in and used the place as bombing practice just before the First World War. So a lot of the destruction that you see was caused by artillery shells. It says you kick around and look carefully, you can pick up fragments that the villagers dropped. And there's loads here. Fragments of pot. They were poor people. They didn't have a lot. They didn't have a lot. So I'm picking up fragments of pot. Look, it's all scattered throughout. The actual soil itself is very very rich. So they would have dug their gardens, grew their own food. Then another bit of pot there, look. All tells a tale. Just across the way there's the wind pump. You can see that down in the valley there, just 100 yards away, and that would have drew water up from a deep well, possibly 150 feet deep, and pumped water up to the farm perhaps. I thought I could hear some agricultural machinery. There's a combine working in the field over there. Just gone past a noisy combine and through a woodland, and it's almost as though the landscape has changed completely. It's quiet. It's rolling. This is an old track, old track, with beautiful landscape. I love how the hill in the distance there just comes down like that. I think it's really lovely. I'm at the other side of that hill now. It's been tough going along the track there because it's been rutted by 4x4s and I really can't cycle it. But anyway, this is a nature reserve, and the placard says "Welcome to Highclere Down." So there you go, you can Google Highclere Down and you'll know exactly where I am. Look at that old building, look, on the point of collapse almost. That'll be gone very soon, I expect. That stood for years. Look at the wood, the timber that held it up. It could be very ancient. It's almost like a crook frame. Yeah, you can see the timbers in there, look. It's supported by scaffolding. With the scaffolding, maybe they are going to do something to restore it perhaps, but I don't know. It's not often you see byway signs, a finger post dedicated to byways only. You know, I've just come from that way there, and another byway up there to Upper Upham, but my route lies down this way. We're going to go down across the busy road, up the hill the other side, and then head back towards Swindon. I am plotting it on Strava, and there's also a commute route available, so I'll put a link in the description box. For anyone local want to follow this route, you can find it on commute. It's a link below. But that section back there is difficult to cycle on due to being heavily rutted, so yeah, bear that in mind. Short section on the Swindon to Aldbourne road, not far away from Aldbourne at this point, coming up on the left hand turn any moment, take us away from this busy horrible road. Well, not busy but still horrible. Here we are. Right, yeah, that's good. Just the noise, just the incredible noise of the car and its tyres as it goes hammering past. Looks like I'm heading straight across a cornfield, for the crop has been harvested and it's heavy going, cycling uphill through the stubble, but according to my sat nav, this is the way to go. Yeah. God, it's hard work. Well, that was a bit of an adventure. I followed my GPS and it brought me halfway across the field beyond, and then it stopped, ended there, so I then just keep on pedalling my way till I found this track and lift the bike over the barbed wire fence. But anyway, this is the track which takes me home. What you see beyond the gate are the barrows. There's 3 or 4 Bronze Age barrows. These date back some 5,000 years. They contained the remains of ancient Britons, people that fought and farmed the land, settled it after the Ice Age. There was no one before them, and their descendants are mixed in with us now. The English, a lot of the English people have that bloodline somewhere. If you could examine their DNA, it would be somewhere buried within the blood that courses through their veins today. So if the land belongs to anybody, it belongs to the descendants of these people. I think the land belongs to God. But these people and their descendants are the indigenous people, the people that belong here, the people that shaped the land and were shaped by the land. That's it. It's all downhill from here on in. So I call the end of the video here. I think. Just want to say thanks for watching. Really appreciate you watching. If you've enjoyed the video, then give us a thumbs up. That all helps. And then yeah, I'll see you in the next video. If you've not subscribed, it's free to subscribe. Click that button, click the bell icon, and you'll be notified also when I upload another video. So as I say, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.